welcome to the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross preview show on Vital MX, presented by Yoshimura. We're going to take a different approach to the preview show this year. Rather than bench race back and forth about what certain riders will do, we're going to be more strategic. We are simply going to attack the top 10 in the 450SX class, giving our respective predictions as if no one will get injured. Obviously, injuries will take place. We can't account for that though. So this is a look at our potential 450 standings. Look at it as more of a power ranking. That is maybe more appropriate. But nonetheless, as I say, myself, Lewis Phillips, along with Michael Lindsay, will rattle through our top 10 450 riders as the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross season approaches. So, in 10th place, I have a rider who my opinion of has changed lately, because now, after the way that he performed in the year just gone, I look at him as all reliable, a rider that will be there every week while others fall around him. In 10th place, I have Adam Cincerello.
For 10th place, I have Hunter Lawrence. I think Hunter will have some, big moments this year, have some podiums. I just think that long season, just for any rookie going to the 450 class, it is a long year. There will be ups and downs. There will be bad moments. There will be good moments. I think we've seen with Hunter before, he is very resilient. He did ride through a lot of injuries last year and in years prior, but I also think that's a little bit easier in the 250 class. I think some of those moments could affect his results more in the 450. Again, there will be highs, there will be lows. So I think 10th overall in the standings.
In 9th place, I have a similar rider, Hunter Lawrence, and after what we have seen this offseason, I feel as though Hunter Lawrence's glass ceiling is exceptionally high. If he wins Anaheim 1, I would not be surprised. That is where I'm at with Hunter Lawrence. 9th maybe doesn't reflect that, but hey, we've got to put everyone somewhere, and this class is super stacked. So 9th place, Hunter Lawrence.
For my 9th place, I have a rider that almost won his first 450 Supercross last year and could happen in 2024 still. Aaron Plessinger, albeit we say that, and the average is about 4 to 5 riders win a year. So we'll see who inside this top 10 does it, because on one hand, I could see anybody inside the top 10 that we have listed as winning a race. But I have Aaron listed 9th. I think he'll be solid. I think he'll build on next year. But if we have a full, healthy field, there are 8 riders that I think can outperform him.
In 8th place, I have a rider who is also looking for his first 450 victory. A rider who will be exceptionally fast. He will be the fastest qualifier on more than one occasion. Will he win his first race? I'm not sure, but I have Malcolm Stewart in 8th place, mainly because the 7 riders ahead of him I consider the big 7. There's no way that any of those 7 riders would be outside of the top 7 in my mind. So Malcolm Stewart is 8th place on my list, and in essence, the best of the rest.
I'm going to say that we probably have a very similar top 7, because I feel the same. The 7 guys I have above 8th are proven. They've been there. They've done it. They've raced for championships. They've won championships, or they've came darn close. For 8th place, I do have a pretty oddball one. Somebody, this is a little bit off the heart of having gone to watch this offseason for him, but I'm going to give Dylan Ferrandis the nod. I think he'll be on the he's been on the podium in 450 Supercross. I think he will be back there again this year. I think he has more of a fire under him than ever to prove it. It's either going to be a really, really good story or not. I'm banking on a really good story, so I'm placing him 8th for the standings.
In 7th place, I have a rider who I feel bad for putting him 7th, because I was a massive cheerleader for how he performed in the second half of the 2023 season. So, and as I say that, I doubt myself, because I don't know why I've quite put him 7th. He is coming off of some pretty serious injuries, more serious than the actual label that goes on them would suggest. But I have Justin Barcia in 7th. But this is my warning. Don't forget just how strong he was from Daytona until his injury last year. If that rider turns up at Anaheim 1 and turns up every week following that, Justin Barcia is going to be a significant threat for a medal, perhaps. But for now, I have Justin Barcia 7th place.
I also have Justin Barcia for 7th place. And as you say, he's somebody that peaks at unique times in the season. And I think that's a huge positive for Justin. It makes his results memorable because he typically goes on streaks when he starts performing. He isn't just a flash in the pan here and there. However, if Justin starts a season really well, sometimes there's a lull in the middle and then he comes back strong at the end. So, I mean, a big key for Justin will be to try to carry whatever intensity, whatever his peak is through a longer portion of the season, maybe than in years past. But again, if he clicks, you can almost guarantee for a couple weeks, at least in a row, you will see some big moments from Barsha. But because of his past, lulls in the season, I have him seventh in the standings.
Sixth place on my list, Jason Anderson, who will be significantly better this year than he was last year. Why? There doesn't have to be a reason. Look at his career. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. It's like clockwork. Every even year, he performs, and every odd year, he struggles. So, simply using that logic, he will be a lot stronger. I actually was close to putting Jason Anderson fourth ish. Again, the only reason I have him as low as sixth is because the riders ahead of him are phenomenal and maybe slightly more phenomenal from my point of view. But make no mistake about it, Jason Anderson, sixth on my list, but he will be better this time around.
For sixth place, I have Ken Roxon, and I already questioned myself putting that there because you can never quite question Kenny and what he can do. But second year with the Hep Suzuki team, maybe not as much doubt around him, which sometimes Kenny is very driven off that. And the tough part is, I just think the top five guys I have listed above him can put together a more complete season. Kenny will win races again this year. And here's my quote with placing him as six. I think six riders will win races this year. And I think Kenny will be one of those six.
Well, I have Ken Roxon in fifth place on my list, and let me tell you, I have been on a magical mystery tour this off season. I've been in the Middle East, I've been in Europe, I have stalked Kenny around the world, spoken to him on record and off record, and the result of this is I am high on Ken Roxon right now. I am extremely high. Let me tell you that Ken Roxon is a rider I am most excited about as we enter the new season. What will that equate to? I'm not quite sure, but I imagine that we will have some typical Kenny flashes. Of course, maybe you have to account for some off weekends, hence why I have him in fifth place. But I'm excited about Ken Roxon. He is top of my list of excitement factor.
For fifth place, I have Cooper Webb, and this is one I very much struggled with. I had him fourth up until the last possible moment. And the only reason I have him this low on the list, I would say, for again, a two-time champion, somebody that was in the thick of the title battle until the unfortunate incident in Nashville, is just the little rumors you hear. Initially thought going to Star would be the best thing for him, and I still think the move to Star is a good thing. You just hear that, maybe he's a little behind on boot camp. There's comments about his weight. There's just little things you hear. But again, he's somebody that very easily can prove all of us wrong. But the only reason I have him this low in the standings is I don't know if I expect a very solid start to the season. Webb's been there, Webb's done it. He'll get there. He'll win races this year. He'll put himself in the battle. I just don't know if he'll be there early enough in the season to stay inside the top, be inside the top 3 points when we start to get down towards the end.
In a similar breath, I have Cooper Webb in fourth place on my list. And it's difficult because putting Cooper Webb in fourth place is disrespectful to the two-time champion and the rider that we have seen since 2019. And if you want to go off recent form, 2023 Monster Energy Supercross, Cooper Webb was right in a position to win that title until he got injured. He was right in the mix, there consistently, knocking on the door, and there wasn't really a weakness, not an apparent weakness. So why would you have him fourth? I hear you ask. I just feel like the riders who I have placed above him have a higher ceiling, more ability to go further, and I feel as though the level could be pushed to a point in 2024 Monster Energy Supercross that leaves Cooper Webb playing catch up a little bit. And for that reason, I have him in fourth place.
For fourth place, I have Jason Anderson for many of the reasons you stated when you mentioned him earlier. He is on again, off again, on again, off again. And that means this year he should be on again. He's on a new bike that I hear he's extremely pleased with everything around the 24 kicks 450 for Supercross from comments from the team, from Anderson, from AC is so positive. He has a new trainer. I think he's very heavily reevaluated his program from what I've heard and wants to get back closer to where he was the year prior, which again, year before that, he did win 7 main events. And even though he didn't win the title, he arguably was the best he has ever been in his career. I think he can get close to that again this season, if not be there. But the only reason that puts him fourth again is the top 3 above him are just that good.
In third place, we're getting into the high stakes now. In third place, I have a slightly controversial pick. Jet Lawrence. Putting a rookie in third place is generous. It's a nice thing to do, but Jet Lawrence is no normal rookie, and I know that so many people have him pegged to win the championship. However, the reasoning behind this pick is I recently went through his career statistics, brushed up on what he's done so far, and it reminded me that in his first 250 Supercross seasons, there were rookie mistakes. It was just a reminder that Jet Lawrence is not immune to the typical struggles that a rookie goes through. So I have him third place with that in mind, expecting some down moments. But make no mistake about it, I do think that he will win more races than anyone else.
I full heartedly agree. I have Jet Lawrence also in third, that he will potentially win the most races of the season. But and this sounds so backwards, he just came off a perfect season in outdoors. He did win the SMX title, but Supercross is a different beast for 450s. One little mistake costs you so much more in this class. And as you said, Jet in his early 250 Supercross stuff, overall in Supercross, he still has little mistakes here and there that he doesn't have outdoors. And just the nature of Supercross, they bite you more. The 2 guys he's going up against, one of them is a legend, one of them is a legend in the making, and they're the kind of guys that just know how to get it done. Jet will get there. It just might not be in the first season.
In second place, I have a rider who there was a large part of me that wanted to put him first, and I really wrestled with this. It was hard for me to finally come to this decision, but I have Eli Tomac in second place. And truthfully, I am much, 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 much higher on Eli Tomac than I was even 12 months ago. I feel as though he's going to come out with a point to prove, he's going to come out hungry, and honestly, I think this will be the best Eli Tomac that we have ever seen. So why have I put him second? The Achilles injury is a serious one. We have seen a lot of athletes have long term effects. It is incredible that Tomac managed to recover as quickly as he did. So I guess I've put him second as just a safety net, expecting maybe at one point for that injury to rear its ugly head and make him have an off night where he finishes 10th. I don't think it will tear again, but I think it could restrict him on certain nights, similar to the back issue that he had in Indianapolis last year. So that is why I have Eli Tomac in second place.
The man I've placed in second place, I think, has more pressure on him than anybody in the field. And if anything, Chase Sexton maybe has more pressure on him than any other defending champion has had in recent years, partially due to the way that Cooper Webb and Eli Tomac went out at the end of last season. At the end of the day, you cannot take anything away from Chase Sexton. He is your 2023 AMA Monster Energy Supercross champion, but there are still questions. And with him moving to Red Bull KTM, I just feel like he has the most pressure on him than anyone in the class. Of course, he can get it done. He's literally coming into A1 with the number 1 plate, but I still have him second because I believe the man I placed first will be the one to take home the number 1 at the end of this season.
For reasons that you just mentioned, I have Chase Sexton in first place. He will be your 2024 Monster Energy Supercross champion. Why? He won the championship last year and he was incredible across the season. He led at least one lap at 12 of the 17 rounds. That's a champion. That screams not dominance, but a rider who's in the mix every single week through thick and thin. There are some naysayers, though, and despite the fact that he's got the number 1 plate attached to his bike, I feel as though he's going to come out with a point to prove and want to remind everyone why he is the champion. So I think personally, he's going to be a lot hungrier. I think professionally, he will be a lot happier at KTM. I do believe that the atmosphere at Red Bull KTM Factory Racing has just suited him a little better. I think it's quite obvious that he's enjoying being around his new team off the track. That's apparent in interviews. And I like what I hear from KTM. I like the developments that have been made, and I like the ideas that are in the works. So, for all of those reasons combined, I do believe that Chase Sexton will be your 2024 Monster Energy Supercross champion.
I've placed Eli Tomac as the champion on my list for the 2023 AMA Monster Energy Supercross Championship, and primarily because of anybody that's really in this championship conversation, whether it's Cooper Webb, Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, or Eli. I actually believe that Eli has the least items up against him. Yes, the Achilles tendon injury he faced last year, in most cases, it can be career ending. It can be a massive holdback, but for him, it just hasn't been. Again, miraculous recovery, been on the bike way earlier than anybody expected, been on solid. Every time you talk to him, he kind of talks about it's just been an easier road than he expected. So the positives he has going for him is he was in the thick of the championship battle to the very end last year. He's on a new bike that he seems to love. And this year, it's not a new bike. He's with a team, with a suspension guy, with a crew, everybody he's happy with. He's had to deal with the least amount of changes there, where Chase has switched teams. Jet is a 450 Supercross rookie. Webb is switching teams, Anderson's on a new bike, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, the injury could maybe rear its ugly head here and there, but I honestly think, in comparison to the pressure that Chase is facing and the new team switch, it will allow Eli to take that number one plate. And again, one last thing, Eli would not be back if he wasn't motivated and didn't believe he could do this.
There you have it. Our top 10 predictions for the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross season 450 class edition. Let us know what you think in the comments. I'm sure you disagree with many of the points that we have raised here. If you want a more traditional preview show where we will banter back and forth and debate the decisions that we have made here, stay tuned to the various podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. We will have a 1 hour long preview podcast available on there shortly. So enjoy that as well. Stay tuned for a lot of content throughout the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross season as we aim to take steps forward with Vital MX. But for now, I'm Lewis Phillips. That's been Michael Lindsay. Thank you to Yoshimura for presenting this preview show. We will see you at Anaheim 1.